What's good, Knick fans? What's good? How we doing? I'm not sure. Is the stream live yet? I think it is. How we doing? Kind of rebranded a little bit. We got a neon logo now. Hope you all like that. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the Knicks pregame chances to beat the Pistons, the lineup analysis, all that sort of stuff. So I'm sorry I delayed the stream to 6:30. I really wanted to watch Kevin Durant's debut with the Nets. I had a hard time getting it on, but I think I finally figured it out, and he looks good. I'll tell you that much. So does Kyrie. I'm not a big fan of the Brooklyn Nets, but I'm happy to see KD back on the floor. I hope the entire NBA is too, because we missed him. But yeah, let's talk some Knicks tonight. I'm going to be live post-game, probably around 10:30. Not sure exactly when. Hopefully I'll have Zach on with me via audio. He won't have his camera on, which is all right. But it looks like the Knicks tonight, they're going to be starting the same lineup. Elfrid Payton, R.J. Barrett, Alec Burks, Randall, and Noel. I'm not super fazed by this starting lineup. At this point, I heard Mitch on Twitter, and I'm sure inside he's a little hurt by it, but I know he said that he was okay with coming off of the bench. He did most of last season to Taj Gibson anyway, and after watching him and him not really working on his foul trouble issues, I understand Tibbs and why he has him coming off the bench, especially because Noel played a really great game the other night. He just shot efficiently. He did what he needed to do out there. Got his rebounds, got some blocks. It's pretty much all you ask for with Nerlens Noel. Although I was a little annoyed by the Elfrid Payton start. I mean, he comes out and he does his thing, but we're not building around Elfrid Payton. We're not building around Julius Randle. I mean, Obi played a great game. We could have started him at the 3, maybe. And it's just a preseason game, so it would have been just a good experiment. It's not like I think we should do that throughout the whole season. But I definitely think that Obi should be starting. Hopefully he proves his worth coming off the bench tonight, and maybe Tibbs changes his mind a little bit and starts him for the third game versus the Cavs, I think. Yeah, the Cavs. But yeah, I can understand the R.J. Barrett start. I guess I can get my head around the Julius Randle start. I just don't like Alec Burks too. It's just those 3 guys. If we're building for the youth, then I don't understand why we're starting the vets. It makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense because these guys are experienced. But is Thibodeau really in win now mode in the preseason? I don't know. Anyway, just kind of breaking down the last game. We got the highlights up on the bottom right of the screen. I hope y'all are watching those. Anyway, I think a real big question is, can RJ bounce back? He had a really good second half the other night, but there was definitely a lot of inconsistency in the first half. I didn't see any. I mean, I saw some good shots, but I didn't see any go in. I saw, for the most part, some air balls. I think I saw 2 or 3 air balls from RJ Barrett, and that's something you just can't have that. I mean, it gets kind of ridiculous at that point. But, I think he turned it up in the second half. He started driving to the rim, which is kind of his thing. And he started playing a lot better. Anyway, kind of hopping off of RJ because we know what to expect from him. Obi Toppin. The main question I had before Ian Bagley came out with the starting lineup tonight, will he start? That has been answered. I get that. But I think a better question now is, when will he start? I know Thibodeau, these guys have only worked for 3 or 4 weeks together. But I think hopefully sooner than later, Thibodeau comes around, or at least Obi starts playing really good, and we see him start at the 4, which would mean a Julius Randle trade would either have to happen, or we'd be playing super small ball. I could see either happen. I'm hoping that Julius gets traded. I really have no serious issue with Julius. He played fine the other night. But look at that. Bad plays. It's luck. If you were just watching the highlights over there, he still does his spin moves. And until he stops doing that sort of stuff, we're kind of screwed. He's not a team player. And we definitely need spacing. So that's why I've talked before about a potential Buddy Hield trade. I have said time and time again, although maybe he's got some attitude issues, is what I'm hearing around the league. Buddy Hield, trade Julius Randle if you can, just to make the salaries work. If you have to give up Frank, do it. If you have to give up DSJ, do it. Just get Buddy Hield on the team. I know the Sacramento Kings are having some trouble with him, so swipe him up. I mean, what? It's like $95 million for 4 or 5 years, something like that. I think it's 4 years. It's a lot of money, but you got to commit to someone at some point. We're not getting Giannis next year. Paul George signed his extension. We're probably not getting Kawhi. I don't even know if he's a free agent. LeBron signed his extension. AD signed his extension. Just freaking pay somebody. Just get Buddy Hield on the team. It's for the best. We need shooters at the 2 position because it's always up in the air. Throw RJ at the 3. You get your established point guard. If you can trade, okay, DSJ and Frank in the same package, you've lost a lot of point guard depth, but it also kind of helps you establish a point guard better. Let's just say we throw in Julius Randle, Frank Ntilikina, DSJ, and a first or second round pick or something. The asking price shouldn't be super high on Buddy Hield because he's been so-and-so this season or last season. But I think we could probably get him for about that. And then what do you do about the point guard position? Do you draft a point guard next year? Is that your plan? Do you start Elfrid Payton still and potentially talk about having Quickly come off of the bench or Miles Powell, whether or not, they progress or not? Or do you not throw in Frank or DSJ at all, and instead you just throw in one of the two? You throw in Frank or you throw in DSJ, but then you add Knox. It's something you got to think about. I don't think we want DSJ as our starting point guard of the future because he's proven, although he made a three-pointer last night and the stroke didn't look too bad, he really, really cannot shoot. I hope he proves me wrong tonight, and I hope he proves me wrong throughout the season. But based off of statistics and what we've seen over the past few years, Frank Ntilikina is a better shooter than DSJ, and Frank Ntilikina can't even shoot. So, what do you do? Anyway, kind of getting back into some more of the players here. Kevin Knox. What do you do with Kevin Knox? Now, I just mentioned his name in the trade for Buddy Hield, but he's definitely still a project. He's young. I think he's like 20 or 21 years old. That's very young for an NBA player still. I'm hoping he can show flashes of, and you can call me crazy, but I'm hoping he shows flashes of like a Reggie Bullock or something, because that'd be, at this point in his career, based off of how he's played, kind of his cap, in my opinion. He's more of just a spot-up shooter, but if he can't be a spot-up shooter this season, we definitely have to talk about him being on the team next year. Do we need a guy like Kevin Knox if we have a guy like RJ Barrett who can also start at the 3? Or we have a guy like Alec Burks who can also start at the 3? Like Kevin Knox, where do you fit in the rotation? You're not really a power forward because you can't play defense. You're definitely not a 5, and I don't think you're a 2. So where are you? Are you just going to be that third string in the rotation? What's the deal? It's definitely something to talk about. I know I just touched upon Julius Randle a little bit, but I think he definitely, and this hurts to say, but based off of our coaching staff, I don't think he'll be traded midseason, although I want him to. So that's why I'm saying maybe we should test Obi starting at the 3 midseason. It's not a bad experiment, especially because the games don't matter. So just do it. I don't really see any serious issue with doing it. Especially because, Obi has proven last game at least that he played great. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with the Nets-Wizards game here. I know that both teams are playing phenomenal. I saw Denny hit his first three-pointer. I was really high on Denny in the draft, and I'm happy he's doing well. But yeah, I was high on a few people in the draft, and that kind of comes back to Obi Toppin. Is he a good 3? We saw that his defense on Julius Randle his defense on Blake Griffin wasn't too hot last game. He definitely had some inconsistencies on the perimeter, and we knew that. We knew he was going to struggle with stuff like that. Like, he gets blown by pretty easily, commits bad fouls. But even he acknowledged that he needs to work on that. And if he can work on that, then I definitely see a future for OB at the 3. Because although he chucked up an absolute brick last game from the 3-point line, I definitely still think that he has a lot of potential as a good 3-point shooter in this league, especially because the league is kind of gravitating towards stretch 4s as is, and that's kind of what he can play. Let's talk a little bit more about Nerlens Noel. Considering he's starting tonight, and actually I could see him starting most of the season or half of the season, depending on how Mitch starts playing. He's not a bad player. I've been happy with his production last game, and I'll definitely say that if we're starting a center over Mitch, I'm okay with us starting Nerlens because I know he's going to be that veteran guy, and hopefully Mitch can pick his brain a little bit defensively, because Nerlens Noel isn't a guy who gets in foul trouble, and Mitch is. So having Mitch come off the bench playing with their second unit, the Pistons, it's kind of good experience for him, but at the same time, you're going into your third year, you kind of have to make that next step up. So what are you going to do? What's your plan? We're about 12 minutes into the stream, and I would hate to cut it off this short, but I see I'm not getting any questions coming through in the chat. If anyone's watching, make sure to ask questions. I'm here to answer them. I'm all ears. But yeah, I hope y'all really enjoyed the new design I worked on. I worked on a neon banner and a neon logo. I kind of just wanted to switch things up, make it look more bright and appealing. Anyway, I feel like tonight's matchups, they're going to be the same as they were the last time. It's just how well the players perform. Obviously Obi has some stuff to prove, 3-point shooting wise, although, like I said, I have high hopes that he'll be a good 3-point shooter in the league. Anyway, so does Kevin Knox. Frank Ntilikina and DSJ need to really fight for a spot because Elfrid Payton is not a 3 to 4 year experiment, whereas maybe DSJ and no, I'm sorry. You know what? I'll lower that. Maybe a 2 to 3 year experiment. But anyway, I think DSJ and Frank, if they prove that they're legitimate point guards this season, which I'm not sure either of them will, I think they're guys that we might lock up for the next 3 to 4 years, and we might see them on the roster for a while, depending on obviously our draft pick. Considering even if we got the number 1 odds this year, even if we got the number 2 odds this year, we would probably drop to 5 or 6 or something. So you can't really bank on the draft anymore. You kind of just have to bank on developing the talent you have. And the talent we have right now is something we can work with. It's serviceable. We have a very good core of R.J. Barrett, Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson. And I could definitely see us going forward and signing some good guys, maybe trading for someone like Buddy Hield. And, developing that core alongside someone like a Buddy Hield or a free agency signing that we get in the future. Anyway, I really hate to cut it this short, but I will be live post-game, hopefully with Zach or my buddy Anthony. It depends who's available. Maybe I'll be here alone. I have no idea. But if y'all enjoyed, please tune in to the post-game. I know I didn't have much to talk about, but there's really not much to talk about, especially in preseason. But yeah, I'll get more into the stats later. I'll analyze the players, their individual performances, and whether or not we won or lost. But I'll throw in my predictions just before the stream ends. And I know predictions, they're not always the best because, quite frankly, if I get it right, I really won't get praise. But if I get it wrong, I'll probably get smoked for it. So I'm just going to throw them out there because why not? I could see Obi Toppin again. I guessed last night, or I'm sorry, not last night, Friday night. I'd guess that Obi Toppin would probably score anywhere between 10 and 15 points, and I was right. I'm just going to stick in that region because he's coming off the bench, but I could see him scoring anywhere under 10, and that wouldn't be a disappointment. That would just be a normal game for Obi coming off the bench, especially because he's only playing 20 minutes. His efficiency was, not the best, but pretty good for his amount of minutes the other night. I know he kind of slowed down a little bit in the second half, but he had a great first quarter. Great second, but, slowed down a little bit after that. Anyway, I could see the MVP of tonight definitely being Nerlens Noel again. He's a really solid guy. He matches up really well with this Pistons team, and I could definitely see him kind of coming out as the MVP of this game if we win. Hopefully RJ Barrett kind of proves me wrong and he's the number one guy. But based off what I saw in the first half from RJ Barrett the other night, and I know it was just kind of warm up, they haven't played in a long time. It was almost horrific. It was very bad. And I'm an RJ fan. I love RJ, but it didn't look too hot. Anyway, I'll predict that the Knicks will take another win tonight. I don't think the Pistons are really that good. I don't think we're that good, but the Pistons are pretty bad. Blake Griffin didn't play super hot. Derrick Rose, he's not going to get a lot of minutes since it's the preseason. And if Sekou Doumbouya if he can play well, I think the Pistons have a chance. But I'm not sure if that'll happen. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. If you watched, this will be uploaded. And I will catch you guys later on in the post game. And come ask any questions, call in, give opinions, 203-961-3409. And I will see you all later.